ghosts lie and someone dies, a killer walks free with no alibi, cause the whispered hush from the crowd that rushed the court and made the case a bust. If ghosts aren't real, then the things we fear aren't under the bed, they're in our head. But the scary truth to which there is proof, it's a living, not dead, that destroyed our youth. Pick a little, talk a little, cheap, cheap, cheap. The devil's gonna preach from a tweet, tweet, tweet. And the things you've said are the things to dread, so load the gun and make the bed. So laugh, don't cry when someone dies. Look the terrible beast right in the eye. They say that dark makes way for light, so the terrible things are also right. It's the terrible, terrible, terrible things. Terrible, terrible, terrible things. Terrible, terrible, terrible things. It's terrible, terrible, terrible things.
I'm digging the background you've got going. I feel like we've set a scene. I've got my camera.
Yes, we have.
Yeah. And I feel like it's like an Antonio celebration.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I got the energy nice, and I was like, this feels like we're going to talk about someone really special. And quite emotional, like emotional about it, but really excited as well.
It's a great story. I'm real excited to share it with you and your audience for sure.
Yeah. So for my listeners, I suddenly was on Amazon, and I don't know how, but this book, The Gay and Lesbian Ghost Stories, popped up on Amazon, and I was like, that's really strange, because when I was researching this podcast a year ago, I thought I'd bought every single book, and then I was like, that's really weird. And then I got it, and I was like, this is pretty much what I do in this podcast, is talk to LGBTQ interviews about their ghost stories. And I couldn't put it down. And then I read a couple of stories on the mini haunts. And then I'd looked at the website and saw Antonio sadly passed away in 2023. I was like, oh, what a great guest he would have been. And then the second time I went to the website, I was like, oh, I should check that. I should look into the other books and what else is there. Yeah, and then I found you, and because I hadn't scrolled down, I was like, oh, Hank. Right. Hank. Perfect.
Yes.
So for anyone who doesn't know you, I know you sent me a bio, but I like people to describe like who you are and what you do, basically.
Absolutely. I am Antonio's husband of 40 years plus, and we lost him in 2023, as you said.
Yeah.
And together we got into publishing way back in the early 80s. And we started with a book project that I was doing, and nobody was interested. And we decided, let's just try doing it ourselves. So we learned from scratch. Yeah. Neither one of us had much experience at all. But what happened with the Ghost Story project, we went from Los Angeles. We were living in Los Angeles, and his family is from New Mexico.
Yeah.
His grandparents were born there and are Native American. And he said, have you ever been to Santa Fe, New Mexico? And I said, no. He said, would you like to go? I said, sure, let's go. It sounds like an adventure. We came out. And one of the things, I didn't know this at the time, but he was interested his whole life as a child. He was raised around spirits and cleansings and, healing. His grandmother and his mother were both healers and midwives and did all kinds of really special things. But his interest in Santa Fe being that it was the oldest U.S. capital still in existence, he said that he had wanted to talk to people about their experiences, I guess, stories, if they'd had actual encounters with spirits or ghosts, because it was so old, the capital. And so he went into a bookstore. I was with him, and he spoke to the cashier and said, do you have books here on Santa Fe ghost experiences? And the cashier was very polite, and he said, well, we have ghost folklore, we have ghost legends, but we don't have anything that's on a first-hand interview. So he said, okay, thank you. And he turned around and was walking out the store, but the cashier stopped him and said, by the way, you might want to go to the Palace of the Governors, which is right in the heart of Santa Fe, historic building, government building, and said he recommended talking to one of the security guards, I believe it was. And he said he has an experience there from the palace. And Antonio said, "Okay, thank you." We had the afternoon, so we went over. We found the gentleman was working, and that was the impetus of the entire series and life work that Antonio started. Because from that one interview, Antonio decided that he wanted to take on this project and started with Santa Fe and doing actual interviews with people who've had sightings, encounters. And so this gentleman, after he gave his story, said, "Oh, you need to go over to the old convent and talk to the cash register person there." And that's really the impetus of how the whole development of these firsthand interviews started. Is
Yeah.
all word of mouth, because people ask us, how did you get these stories? And it's all word of mouth. One person says, "Go talk here." Now, of course, in the course of the 30 plus years that we've done research and interviews and things, there were people who wanted to be in it would at all costs and made up stories.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Antonio was very good about weeding those people out
Yeah.
and getting legitimate tales and experiences. He had a really good sense of that.
Yeah.
So that was another plus on his side.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like if it was a different time, he would have started his own podcast, basically, wouldn't he, as well? He
Yeah,
would have
absolutely.
got these stories. Yeah, I think storytelling is
Absolutely.
so important. And obviously, I'm a comedian, and that's turning my stories into comedy. So, yeah. And I think as well, you can tell because people write into me with their stories, and
Yes.
sometimes you're like, I'm not getting
Yeah.
the vibe. And I was listening to another podcast which was supposed to be a spooky podcast. And then they
Uh-huh.
played back the recording of the ghost, and I didn't get any sensation or any like tingling, or I was like, this can't be real.
Any sense of it.
Yeah, and it
Yes.
turned out it was a drama. They were saying that
Oh,
it was a ghost story, but the flip was it's actually two guys. It was a drama.
okay.
Bit Blair Witch Project, like trying to yeah.
Yes,
And I
yes.
was like, oh, I do have a sense of when something is spooky and when it's not.
Yeah,
So, how
yeah.
did you two meet?
Oh, we met. It was and we were both working for the American Cancer Society, which
Right.
is still out there, big internationally known organization that works with helping people who have cancer.
Yeah.
Well, I was hired, and the day I was hired, Antonio was already there. He was the assistant director of um, well, patient services. That's right. And so he would counsel these men and women who had cancer and give them encouragement and support. And I shared the office with him.
Mm.
So my role was the assistant director of um, uh, public campaigns, stop smoking, breast self examination, all of those kind of different educational aspects. So we shared an office, but I would hear him counseling these people, and I was immediately taken by how incredibly sensitive and special this man was
Yeah.
for dealing with people in that living with that situation.
Yeah.
But so we met and we became good friends, and of course we were associates. I like to tell the story that he tells me, "Oh, I knew you were gay when you first came in." I said, What do you mean?" I said, I had no clue you were." And the reason was he was dating a woman at the
Oh,
time. He had a
oh,
girlfriend,
oh.
so that threw me off
Yeah.
completely. But he says, "Oh, I knew you were gay because the first day you came in with two potted plants for your desk." And I said, "Oh, okay. I didn't realize that was a gay thing back then." But it was such a stark, plain white office. I thought, no, I need some
Yeah.
greenery. So,
Zhuzh it up a bit.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
But anyway, after that, we started hiking and going on trips, and then one afternoon he took me to it was a movie set where they used to film the TV show MASH, and he said, "Have you ever been out there to see it?" And I said, "No," and he took me out there, And it was a really beautiful summer day, fall day, and we just spent the entire day. And it was that at that time, at the end of the day, when he said, "You know what? I'm going to tell you, I'm gay, and I really like you." And I said, "What?" I was not even thinking that at all. So it was all fortuitous, and we were together 40 years since that day. That was our anniversary, September 11th, 1983.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The interesting thing is he passed on September 10th
Right.
of 2023. So it was really close, and I think he had a little say in that. He didn't want that to be the memory of our
Yeah.
40-year anniversary. So if you can do it, I kind of thought, nah,
Yeah.
he would be one to postpone it and do it. So,
So,
but that was basically in a nutshell. Yeah.
so Antonio had his background of his parents and grandparents, and they were very spiritual, and he was very open to energies. So was he having paranormal experiences as a child?
All his life.
All his life. Yeah.
All his life. And he observed his mother and his grandparents, and then his father was also a sensitive. Well, I call them sensitives.
Yeah.
Is people who can sense things like that and see it sometimes. And he was, as a child, would go, the neighbors would come and say, "There's something in my house, making noises. There's trouble in the family, or there's, a relationship." And they had asked his mother to go and do a blessing or a cleansing. And being Native American, that's a whole other aspect of the spirituality. So he's very grounded. So he wasn't afraid. He wasn't ever afraid. But
Yeah.
he told me that from a very young age, he sensed it too. He had that sense.
And what about you? Had you ever entertained the idea that these things were real? Like, what was that like of the meeting of minds of?
I was totally, I wouldn't say the opposite. Of course, I had my religion and my
Yeah.
faith, and I grew up
Yeah.
Catholic and all that. So we knew about spirits and saints and things like that. But I was never on the plane of paranormal experiences. And when we started researching, it was just a project. I didn't give it much thought.
Yeah.
But in the course of the 35, 40 years of research and investigations and interviews, I definitely am a believer. And there are things that happen to this day I cannot explain. I can only say I'm thinking and hoping it's Antonio.
Yeah, because you said that. You
Uh,
said, "Oh, I'm still getting. He's still
I
communicating with
still
me." Yeah.
Very much so. And people are amazed. I tell them what happens and they go, "Oh, it has to be Antonio. It has to be. What other reason would that be?" So anyway, yes. But I have grown to be more sensitive. And he used to tell me, if he says we all have the capacity to heighten our sense of to be sensitive around spirits, or to train, I guess, or enhance our sixth sense kind of thing. And I really believe that after all these years. Now I have that. I
Yeah.
feel it. And I still have a long way to go, but I still think there's a good possibility that I can pursue that
Because
more.
I want to circle back on that
Yeah.
communication with Antonio, but I'm interested to know, what was the first paranormal experience for you where you were like, "Oh."
Oh, that's a
Can you remember
that
the very first?
you're asking me for in the 40 years
Yes.
together. Oh, geez.
Like,
That's a really good one.
what was that switch? Because there's always a switch. There's always something that happens and you're like, "Oh."
Well, I have to say, to be honest, it wasn't a one-time thing that stands out. It was over the life of the relationship, and accompanying him to these interviews for
Yeah.
the books and the research, that things would manifest, if you will. What I remember, some of the things that I remember that I thought, "Oh, this is not normal.
Yeah.
It really has to be something unique." Um, I was able to capture things when I took photos with my cell phone. Antonio had this fantastic Nikon camera that he would use to take pictures of the people he interviewed and the places we were at. And it just seems I would capture what they call orbs and light anomalies and smoke looking things in the photographs for some reason. And that was always the case. And he would say, "Oh, that's interesting that they're showing up for you, but not for it on your little phone, but not with my big fancy Nikon." So I started paying attention to things like that. And we would test it. I would take his Nikon camera and I would try to do it. And there would occasionally be a thing that I would capture that it wasn't there when I took the picture.
Yeah.
So there was something to that. So I have given that a lot of thought.
Because you have some of those pictures on your website, don't you? So I'll put the links in the bio, and I might put some pictures on Instagram as well. Because there was a few examples of different things that you'd captured, which I thought was really fascinating. And actually, while we've been talking, in front of the Gay and Lesbian Ghost Stories, there's been little twinkles behind your... I'm like, oh, because that sometimes happens with me. I was on a Zoom call and this vivid blue light came, and we were like, and it was just like here for ages, and then I was so relaxed afterwards. So I say this.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I was talking to a friend who's also a believer, my friend Terence, who's also gay, and I often say on the podcast that the more we talk about things and the more we share the stories, the more things pick up. It's always a joke that people who've done the podcast that night or the night after, like, activity happens to them. Even if it's been like 10 years ago, they're like, oh, after I did your podcast, this thing happened, this book fell off the shelf, the lights were going funny. I was like, yeah, that's normal. So I wonder if it is that thing of once we tap into it, because I'm always scared of opening the door too much. So I try and stay back, because I always joke I don't want them all coming and wanting things from me. like I haven't got time for ghost admin.
Yeah, exactly. So but I often say to people they come to me, and of course over the years and us, and they've said, oh, I was using the Ouija board the other night and something happened and I immediately, and I learned really early on that, Antonio, and we would lecture, and I still lecture to this day. I just did a lecture 2 weeks ago. I said, anybody, if you're using the Ouija board, it's not a toy.
No.
And you can open portals and you can invite things in without even really saying, come in. Yeah. Although most people say, show yourself or show me something. And that's an open invitation. So yeah, that's a serious thing in my opinion, that I've seen, where someone has had that experience.
I would not touch a Ouija board at all. I wouldn't mess with that, because I just think that's something. Yeah, I think certain energies can get through that you don't really want lingering in your house. Maybe
exactly. You might be interested in hearing from grandma or grandpa.
No,
but it's another entity waiting for an opportunity, some other form. Yeah, definitely. That's.
And when I watch ghost shows and things like that, I'll always watch with my headphones on in case the ghosts are listening. They're like, you watch, you watch that, but you won't listen to us.
Right. Interesting. Okay.
Do you watch?
Well, that's a safety mechanism, I think, maybe.
And I don't use certain words like, the German noisy ghost word that begins with P. I never say that word out loud. I don't want to jinx anything. And even saying a Ouija board is a bit like, Yeah. And I'm not religious. I mean,
but when you're describing it, it's okay to say those terms. It's when you use it in another context, just so you know, you're safe. You're safe. Okay.
Okay.
You're not calling anything to you. Yeah, but you're sharing experience and you're sharing information, and that's what you do. So you're okay.
Thank you. I feel in safe hands with you, Hank.
Good.
Do you watch any ghost shows? Because I feel like, with YouTube and social media, there's been a big influx, and I've kind of stopped watching a lot of them because there's a trend. And I've got a lot of ghost books on my bookshelf, and there seems to be a trend of like certain ghosts will be popular at a certain time, and it can be mapped out through like popular culture and certain films that were out at the time. People start seeing Lady in Greys everywhere, or at the moment it's, I don't really like saying this word either, the demonic. So every YouTube video is like demon caught in the basement. I'm like,
right, yeah.
The demons can't be everywhere.
No,
I just think it's
no.
so
Well, I guess they
dangerous.
could.
They
Anybody,
could.
any spirit, but
Yeah, it
I
just,
do watch
yeah.
some of them. But I've learned to be more skeptic
Mm,
myself, and then especially with our experience, Antonio's been on several, featured on several videos and
mm,
documentaries and TV shows, and I remember specifically one that told him after he was interviewed, you got to make it sound a little more scary. You have to make it sound. I remember that, and he
mm.
said, "What are you talking about? I'm telling you what I saw and heard, and it wasn't good enough for television." So from that point on, he became very selective
Yeah,
of who he was going to deal with, and this was a major production.
yeah.
And they just said, "Can we just toss in something that happened?" And he said, "No, that's not what happened." So
Mm,
there are, and there will always be
yeah.
people who take advantage and want to exaggerate.
Yes,
That's something
yeah.
we never do.
It's
We never do.
entertainment for them. It's money. It's views.
Exactly.
So if they
Exactly.
say at the moment, oh, it's like if you go on YouTube, every ghost show is demon caught,
Yeah.
demon, demon, demon. Yeah. What?
It's all a catchphrase to get
Yes.
your attention.
Yeah.
And it works. It works. But most times you're disappointed and you think, I didn't see or hear a demon.
No.
Or you sit through half an hour of the video and it's like at the end of that, oh, did you catch that? No, I
No,
didn't.
didn't catch
You know,
anything. Yeah, it's so interesting watching those shows because a lot of them have been proved to be fake, which I'm like, oh.
yeah.
And I feel
Yeah.
as well.
Well, you said, excuse me, you said it's entertainment.
Entertainment, yeah.
And that right there is
Yeah.
what, if you approach it on that level,
Yeah.
then okay, you need to know that it's not real.
And that's what's so nice about the books is you can tell they're just honest stories. They're from the man, as you say, who works on the counter at the local
Yeah.
nunnery, or it's not.
Absolutely.
They're just like diary entries, which makes them more compelling. But yeah,
And from all walks of life and cultures.
Yeah. But I was saying there's such a disrespect as well for the paranormal. I think, if you're going into a Victorian haunted house and you're demanding, you're shouting,
That's right.
and
That's right.
nothing's going to come for you. Like, if you're a Victorian lady, you're going to be just in your house, like, who are these strangers shouting at me, disrespecting me? Because a lot of the young ones are doing it. They're like, it's usually like a group of lads all in black, really aggressive. And like, I don't think that's the way to go. And I can tell from the website and Antonio's, even his photograph, he's got such kind eyes and kind energy.
Yes.
And I think there's one video I found of him on YouTube, and he's very gentle and just a nice energy. And obviously they don't want that, do they? They want someone making claims about scary things. Right. And that's interesting that you said as well, like he was never afraid, because I think there's such a like, I'm fearful. I got the Gay and Lesbian Ghost Story, so I finished that, and then I was like, right, I'll get the big one, the latest one.
Oh my gosh, wow, that's perfect.
So
that's the best. That's like the anthology of all of the 21, I think 22 books that he's done.
Is that all in one?
The best, yes.
The best of.
That's the best of, yes.
So yeah, it's called Unforgettable Ghost Story Interviews, and there's loads of sections which I really like. So it's like pet hauntings, hospitals, historic destinations.
Exactly.
But I've had to I was reading some before bed, and then I just had to slow down on it because I was waking up in the night thinking there's people in the room. So I was like, I was scaring myself a little bit.
And I tell people, don't read it at night before bed. It's not that kind of reading.
I did that.
But listen, you just brought up a really good segue into what I want to share with you today for sure about being sensitive. Because one of the things that I lecture, and I learned this early on from Antonio and his cultural background and sensitivity, is that he was always offended by the term ghost hunter or ghost buster because of his Native American perspective. Because with Native Americans, and I believe this too, those are considered ancestors. If you're see, this is where your thinking and your attitude changes. If you think of them as your ancestors or someone's ancestors, someone's grandmother, someone's grandfather, someone's parent, you're not going to be busting them, are you? You're not going to be hunting grandma or grandpa, So that whole thing is something that I did it this 2 weeks ago at that one. I said, I'm not a ghost hunter. I'm not a ghost buster, because those are ancestors. Those were once living people and energies. I said, now there are bad or evil demonic energies. That's a different beast,
Yeah.
literally. But if you look and consider the spirits as ancestors, you're not going to approach them that you're hunting them down, or you're going to be trying to get them angry enough to throw something or show themselves. It's a whole different perspective, and that's what I really feel, Antonio, when I speak about that and share that. I really hear and feel him saying, thank you for that perspective, that he and us on this side, we approach it as those are ancestors. You don't hunt them.
Yeah.
It's again, that's an entertainment term.
Yeah.
That has just taken on, and I don't disparage groups that do it, because there's thousands of them, that are formed, and a lot of them do like to do investigations and do like to do research, but you have to, in my opinion, approach those with a little more sensitivity of what it is you're doing and why you're doing it.
Yeah.
It's not to, it's not to make fun of necessarily that way. If you think of them as an ancestor or someone who once lived.
Because I know when I asked you about coming on the podcast, you were a bit hesitant. You're like, oh, it's comedy. And I was like, oh, I'm not taking the piss, as we say in the UK. I'm not taking the piss.
Yeah.
I am very interested in it. And I think I'm very sensitive with people who come on and share their stories, because I want to hear, but also it can be talked about in a light way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think,
and that's what I like about your podcast, because when you first approached me, I went immediately to see and hear on your websites, and I was very impressed.
Oh, thank you.
You do have that sensitivity.
Oh, good.
And it comes across.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested in it. Since I've been a little girl, I've been interested in it. So what ghost shows do you watch? Can you name drop any that you watch?
Most of the ones I used to like there's a one, what's it called, where they take children that are sensitive and they find out, they put them in
Psychic Kids.
Yes.
Psychic Kid. I just
Psychic Kids.
I last week thought, do you know what I haven't watched for a while? Psychic Kids. Is it
really interesting?
And
I think it is.
I bought because I got the series 1 downloaded. I bought it years ago.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh, I should, because they did a new series, but I can't get hold of it in the UK. Like a recent one, because there's the one with Chip Kofi in it.
Yeah.
Is it called Psychic?
That's one that stands out, because I just like their approach.
Yeah, Psychic Kids. So I can't believe we both. Yeah, I only watched that last week. I feel like we've had like an energy connection.
Yes.
Like
I think
finding
so.
the book.
I believe Antonio made this happen.
I was going to say that, and I was like, I shouldn't say that because it might sound.
No, absolutely. I really believe it,
like
because
the book
the last thing I expected.
Yeah.
The last thing I expected was to hear from someone from the UK. Let alone a podcaster and all this sort of thing. It's like
a lesbian comedian, just
a lesbian on top of that. It's so cool. And because honestly, Jane, I've been thinking, I really want to continue and find contribute to his legacy now even more so.
Well,
and so this part of it, I can't remember in our 40 years him doing any lecture or addressing the topic of him being gay in his work.
Right.
so we didn't have a chance to
Yeah.
promote the gay and lesbian book. That's probably why you didn't see it till recently.
Yeah.
I've been working really hard to reach out to different groups, and that's what's in the back of my head, is just continuing the legacy. And so you coming up at the time you did was like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, I hear you.
Yeah, I feel that way. See how the sunshines come out as well?
Yes, I see that. That's good.
Yeah,
Good sign.
coming
Good
through.
effect, Antonio.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I was going to say, well, I think the legacy, you're an amazing speaker. You've got the knowledge. You've got the books. Why not set up a podcast?
Right now, it's time-wise. I'm in between moving between states, and it's a major change. That's a whole cool story in itself, and it's also related. At some point, we can talk about it. But Antonio sent me. I'll give you a little heads up. We can schedule this at another time. Yeah. Antonio has sent me and arranged for a new partner.
Oh, okay.
After it hasn't even been 2 years.
Right.
Remarkable man. I'm so excited. I never expected this to happen, because I'm less than 2 years since he's passed. After 40 years, my grief has been an interesting journey.
Yeah, I bet.
But now it's taken a big positive, and I totally believe that it's Antonio. Not only that my new partner, he lost his husband 5 years ago. And they were together for 43 years.
Yeah.
And here's the cool part.
Yeah.
Is we, all four of us, met while Antonio and I, back in 1989, had our bed and breakfast, which we started in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Yeah. This person and his husband were our guests and had a great time. And the day that I went to Yosemite. I'm getting, well, it's kind of related. It is
we
related.
can circle back.
I went to Yosemite to distribute, it's Yosemite National Park, to distribute Antonio's ashes, because that's where he introduced me to that park. We used to go annually, and it was just a cherished memory. And I thought that would be one cool way to contribute and do a tribute. That on that day, my new partner said that he found a photo of the four of us at the bed and breakfast in Santa Fe. He says, I don't know where this came from, why it happened. And my immediately thought when he said that was, it's either Antonio or it's his husband.
Yeah. Because
we all met back in 1989.
Yeah.
And now here we are. We haven't even been, it's not even been a year that we reconnected.
Yeah.
But he sent me a beautiful condolence letter when he saw the website. He didn't know our last names, but he looked up our bed and breakfast. Of course, it's been gone for 25, 30 years. Yeah. And he found out, like you did, he read more about me from Antonio's obituary, that Antonio had a partner and husband. So he reached out to me, and we've been in touch ever since, and it's just developed so quickly, and it's so organic. Yeah, I can't tell you how grateful I am, and excited, so that's a cool another show that we can do, but it's really beautiful. But here's the other interesting thing is, my new partner does not believe in the paranormal or have any religion or faith background.
Right.
So our discussions are very interesting. And the only thing he's been saying is something happens to you that just makes you come alive and are so excited. And he says, I don't know what that is. He says, I have a scientific mind. And if it's not proof, I can't see it. But I see something in you.
Yeah.
And you say it's Antonio, and now you're saying that it's my husband too. He says, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. So it's really a cool experience that's going on between us.
That's lovely. Yeah. So when you do get settled, turn the spare room into a little, all you need is a mic. They're about $100, some good headphones.
Yeah.
A little Zoom. You can just sit in there and you can, just share the stories and talk. And I think it'd be really popular. I wanted to talk because you mentioned about, you said, oh, read, was it page 99 or something, 100?
Oh, our story, yes.
The haunted
The bed and
bed and
breakfast.
breakfast. How far into a relationship did you set up the bed and breakfast business? And did you know whether it was haunted?
We did not know it was haunted when we bought the property. And it was, let's see, that was we've officially together in 1983, and we moved from Los Angeles to Santa Fe, I believe it was in 1987, say 88. And we purchased this beautiful property here's a little lesbian story for that one.
Oh, lovely.
The property was owned by the first female archaeologist in the state of New Mexico. Her name was Bertha Dutton. You can look her up. She has a book on anthropology still used today at the University of New Mexico. Okay. But her property was 5 acres. She had an original adobe home. And then we heard and found out that she was friends with Georgia O'Keeffe.
Yeah.
And we think a little more than just friends with Georgia O'Keeffe, because she built this guest house accordingly. I mean, supposedly, allegedly, for Georgia to come visit her and stay with her. So she never married, but she had this we got the impression, a very intimate relationship with Georgia O'Keeffe. Well, so
yeah, I love that.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, really cool.
But when she passed, we had guests at the time. The bed and breakfast was set up, so that had to have been in at least within 3 years of moving to Santa Fe. We opened it up. It was such a beautiful place.
I think there's a picture, isn't there? Is it on the website?
Yes.
Or somewhere I saw?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I'll put a picture.
So, and then we had Antonio's father was living with us at the time, and he was a very spiritual man, and he was very into Catholicism and praying, and he would go around and bless new properties for us. We used to flip houses.
Oh, yeah.
And properties, and that's what got us to, when we got tired of it, we said, let's get out of here. Let's go to Santa Fe and start new.
Yeah.
So, but he would say that he felt things in the house. And then, of course, the story that's in the book is about a guest who remembers he and his wife experienced seeing Georgia come to see them. I think it was the night she died. She came back to her bedroom and they were in there.
Bertha or Georgia?
Bertha.
Yeah.
Because it was Bertha's home. Yeah. So that was interesting. And we used to hear glass breaking, and we used to hear footsteps in the hall. And the curious thing about Bertha's home, she had a vault built in the center of the home where she would keep Native American artifacts and skeletal bones that she found from some of the and that was not cool in our experience, because again, you're talking, those are somebody's ancestors. So she ultimately gave them to the Natural History Museum and the anthropology department, but we think that some of that caused some of the activity that she had taken from digs that she did. So that was a little bit of a controversy, but an interesting story.
Yeah. From reading the book as well, the Unforgettable book, there's a lot about daytime ghosts, summer ghosts, which I found quite fascinating, because you always think of ghosts being around Halloween, October, autumn, Christmas ghosts. You don't really think about them in the day. And there's a lot of, I don't think I would go camping in America. You're not going to catch me camping anytime soon, especially Arizona. Gorgeous, but scary. So there's been a lot of Native American sightings, hasn't there, with like camping and and at night having a visitor. But the daytime ones for me are fascinating, because you don't expect things to happen through the day. Have you had anything happen through the daytime?
During the day, I remember being in my office here in our home, and it was 2 days after Antonio passed. He passed here in the house, and I heard my name. Him called my name, and he used to call me Little Henry, but Hank is my nickname, right? And so he used to say Little Henry, and I heard him specifically from the kitchen while I was in my office say Henry. And that was in the middle of the day. And I thought, that's interesting. Okay, I said, hello, I hear you, you know. And then another time it was also during the day. I was coming in from the laundry room to the kitchen, and from the hallway, I heard, hey, his voice clearly say, hey. And I stopped and I said, okay, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have now.
Yeah.
That's why I say I could say Antonio's definitely keeping me on my toes.
Yeah, because I wanted to circle back to that. What other little signs? Was that the first time you sensed him when he said Henry? What other
No,
things? Yeah.
no. The well, we had a really cool experience with his father. His father lived with
Yeah.
us all the way till he passed. And his father used to come down the hall. He had his own apartment next to us, but he would come down the hall before he went to bed, and he would knock 3 times on the bedroom door, say good night, boys.
Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow. Good night. The night he passed, that very night, we heard the 3 knocks on the door. So that was cool. I got chills when I heard it. I said, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, it was really cool. So things like that started happening. I was more aware of it.
Yeah.
But for Antonio, most of it has been like hearing from my new partners. Like, how did that happen? And we were talking about during the course of the deepest part of the grief. In the beginning, I was online and I was looking at Facebook, and I joined a grief group and a support group on Facebook. And one of the things that popped up that I hadn't seen ever in a long time was an announcement from a friend of mine who's a writer, and she was doing a workshop for how to tell your story. And it was going to be in beautiful Big Sur, California, right on the coast, and it was really just tremendous. Now, Antonio introduced me on the way up to Yosemite National Park, that Highway 1, Southern California, all the way up north along the coast. It was beautiful. It has very special meaning for me now, even more so. And so this photo of Big Sur popped up, and I read it. Long story short, I signed up for it, and I was not in the mood. At that point, I was in such grief, I didn't want to live.
Yeah.
If I be honest.
Yeah.
But that popped up, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. I don't feel like doing it. I don't want to go anywhere. And that was my first trip traveling cross country alone, driving without him, and going specifically to an area that we went many times.
Yeah.
And that alone was so that kind of experience happens so many times since he passed. And it was just like I was just feeling directed.
Yeah.
I really was feeling directed, and do this. I got your back. I'm not kidding. It's just really tremendous. I'm very, very fortunate.
The light just went behind you again. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to, I'll look through the video after and I'll clip the bits to see if we caught them.
Yeah.
Yeah, just near that little where the green is hanging, like yeah, just there again.
Okay. Good.
So
he likes it.
He loves the conversation.
He likes us.
Yeah, he does. I'm getting chills. So people talk about the paranormal. We talked about the ancestors and things like that. It's you might have heard this, we talk about this on another podcast, but the village that I'm from and grew up in, I'm in the Lake District in Cumbria. I don't know if you know the area. Just below Scotland. Lots of lakes, very beautiful. I'm in a tiny little village on the coast, and the family history goes back like over 300 years. So whenever we go for a walk in the fields and there's a quarry, I'm always like mentally like, I'm one of you. I'm Apostle Thwaite. Like, because my
Yeah,
granddad,
yeah.
his dad, like worked up there.
Oh, very cool. Now, how do you pronounce that? Your last name?
Apostle Thwaite. Apostle
Apostle
Thwaite.
Thwaite.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's
yeah, very
based on
cool.
the apostles. So people who would dress
Really?
up and do plays, and Thwaite is a clearing in a wood. So it's quite nice because I do
Okay.
comedy and acting and things. So it's
Yeah.
nice.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's meant for you to
It's a
be.
very
Yep.
northern name because you kind
Okay.
of got that north-south divide in the
Yes,
UK. Yeah.
yes.
So my accent and things will be different to probably what you've heard before. But yeah, so it's really, I feel very connected. And I when you were talking about ancestors, I was like, yeah, I always feel like I'm looked after because I go for loads of walks by
Yes.
myself in like creepy forests and stuff, but I always feel
Yes.
like looked after. I don't feel like a stranger,
Yeah.
which
Yes.
is really nice. So yeah, so talking about, so some people believe in ghosts, some say like spirits, energy. Do you believe in ghosts, and how do you define that? How would you define a ghost?
I use the term ghost because that's what people think in general. That's
Yes.
what they know, and
Yeah.
they're taught and exposed to
Ghost
ghost
story. Yeah, yeah.
movies and things like that.
Mm.
But when I address the topic professionally, I use spirits,
Spirit.
former ancestors. Yeah, so that does change the tone.
Mm.
And I've been told when I do that presentation and I distinguish about not being a ghost hunter or ghost uh, buster,
Mm.
they people will say to me that they've never heard that and they can appreciate even better
Yeah.
now that the possibility of someone that they knew or loved is around, but they're not a ghost. So
Mm.
it's an interesting term to use and throw around. It's
Mm.
overused, I think, but
Yeah. Have
it
you?
gets your attention
Yeah.
either way.
Have you been to England? Did you and Hank ever? You and Antonia ever come to England?
We have,
Yeah.
and we had a bus tour
Yeah.
of the Lake District.
Did you?
Yes, we
Oh.
did a bus tour, and it was a real quick, short trip. But he said, I have to go see this. I want to go see this, and it was
Mm.
beautiful, and the weather was good. I
Yeah.
expected it to be raining and
No.
dark and all,
Yeah.
but it was nice. And he said we need to come back and spend more time, and we didn't, but I
He's
will.
come
I have
back.
a
He's come back.
yeah, he's come back. There you go. Especially he's talking. We're talking to the right person.
Oh,
But
that's
I
so
have
nice.
a dear friend who lives in Scotland who's
Mm.
invited us for years,
Mm.
and I told him next year I'll be 70,
Mm.
and I said for my 70th, that's on my list. I'm going to go. I will go to Scotland. I said we did the London tour thing, and that wasn't us. We're more for
Mm.
the outdoors and the
Yeah.
scenery, and
Mm.
the city life is not what draws us. So I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
Scotland, and I've seen a lot.
Get yourself to Edinburgh. Edinburgh is fantastic. It's like stepping into a different world. It's so vibrant and just amazing. It's one of my favorite cities in the entire world.
Nice,
Edinburgh.
yeah. I can't wait. So
Yeah,
that's next year, and
next year.
hopefully I'll maybe get to meet you
Yeah,
on my way
yeah.
in.
Keep in touch and we can
I
meet
will
up.
let you know for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I was asking about England because obviously there's so many paranormal stories and castles and old
Yes.
pubs and things like that. So I'd wondered if you'd experienced and Hank and
Well,
Antonio
of
experienced
course,
anything.
Antonio. Of course, we went to the Tower of London. We did all the,
Yeah,
all those, and we're disappointed that there wasn't. It didn't feel that way.
it was their day
I
off.
guess yeah, it's been cleaned out or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
but and then we did the other thing we did was the Jack the Ripper
Oh
tour.
gosh. Yeah.
Have you done that one? The White
No.
Castle and
Oh
all.
no.
That was interesting, but it's
I get very drained in London. I can do 24 hours there and then I have a physical, my body starts,
yeah,
I can't, it's
yeah,
too much
yeah.
energy and it's too many imprints of,
Yes,
do you know what I mean? I
absolutely.
can only
No,
do, and
that's
the underground really scares me. Because the first time I ever
yeah.
went to London, I was 7 and my dad and uncle used to do runs. So they did the London Marathon. And we went, and I remember going on the underground and just feeling all the vibes. There's a
Oh,
really good
yeah.
documentary on YouTube about the London Underground ghosts for the men
Oh,
who
okay.
work there. I'll send you the link. It's a
Okay.
good watch.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they'll like see things on the monitor, and then they'll send someone down. There'll be no one there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah,
See, that doesn't surprise me, or I'm sure it
no.
doesn't surprise you because of all the history that's
Well,
there. All those,
they
yeah.
built through all the graveyards.
Yes.
London is just layers and layers of bodies.
Yes.
But
Yes.
Edinburgh is fantastic, and I
Oh.
love it. I go and do comedy, and yeah, we did the Edinburgh Vaults, which is they found a hole in the 80s. They found a whole hidden city beneath in the
Oh my
bridge and stuff. So
gosh.
you'll have to do the Vaults tour.
Yeah.
But I had for the following 3 nights, I had really bad nightmares. Of like a man coming at me, and
Oh
then I dreamt
yeah.
that the evil of from underground was coming, and we all had to evacuate Edinburgh. So I had bad nightmares because
Wow.
all the poor people and stuff used to live underground. That's where they were forced
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
live. It's really fascinating, but very scary. So get your protection up when you go.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing because I'll share a secret with you and your listeners is that I have become in my senior years claustrophobic.
All right. Yeah.
I never was before, and I can't do small spaces with a lot of people. So I miss the what is it the in Rome, the Colosseum, not the Colosseum, the catacombs.
Catacombs. Oh,
Is it?
yeah. I wouldn't. Yeah.
I couldn't do
I
it.
don't think
I
I could
couldn't
do
do it.
it.
Just the thought of it. Yeah. So anyway, recently I was on a plane and I noticed that the windows shades were down, and I felt like we were in a coffin.
Yeah.
And I started to pant and panic, and I had to pray to Antonio. You know what's happening to me. I said, "Calm me down, slap me or something."
Yeah.
But and it's a simple reason they did it is because in the Southwest it keeps the inside of the plane cool
Right. Yeah.
in the intense heat. But to me, it was like being is stuffed in a
Mm.
can. It was really bad. Anyway, so I don't think I'll be going to see. That sounds interesting, but I don't think I will be doing that tour of
The vaults is not
the
bad. It's
underground.
very high. So it is
Okay, okay,
underground, but the groups are like 10 people, say 10, 15 people. So
okay.
there's plenty of space. They don't ram everyone down there like they might do in Europe. Do you know what I mean? They'll put
Okay.
everyone down there
All
to
right.
make as much
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
So you go with a really nice like tour guide, and they talk you through, and they make
Okay.
sure everyone feels okay. And yeah, I think it'd be
Well,
all
if you're
right.
if you're if you're available and free that and none there at that time, you can
Yes,
come and be my
we'll do
my
it.
tour. Yes.
I love
I'll
that.
feel better.
So one of my other questions was, do you have a favorite ghost story or a story that like comes to mind? Could either be from the book or something that you just think, wow.
I have to say, the one that comes to mind is the good night from Antonio's father. His father was more like a father to me than my own, because he lived with us, and it was just beautiful, and it just really warmed my heart. That was a really good one. That and see, in this case, I said it was a good ghost story, but it was a spirit.
Spirit, yeah,
The,
my visitation.
his spirit came. So see, that ghost just kind of lessened the importance of it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It. Yeah,
And what
but
about
that was fun.
from, let's say, from the book Unforgettable? Is there one of these where you're like, oh? Because for me, it was, I mean, I've only touched on the camping ones, but I was like, oh, seeing sign up your campsite and then someone comes through the day. Like, oh.
Yeah, you thought you were safe in the daylight. Not gonna happen. I think which one that? Well, the one that happened in our bed and breakfast when I actually heard the breaking glass. We had two French doors in the hallway from separating all the bedrooms, and I heard it, and because people, our guests would say, "I heard the glass breaking last night. What happened?" And it wasn't, but the when I first heard it, and then I also heard the footsteps coming down the hall towards our room, and that was kind of creepy.
Yeah. Do you
So
believe in like because they have a theory, don't they, about they call it stone tape theory when it's like a stone building, like the building holds the memories and can repeat the history? Or do you think it is?
That's a good question. I have to say, and I say this a lot too to people when they think, oh, here's an expert on the paranormal.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
have all the answers. Antonio used to start his talk saying, I don't have all the answers either.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is really true or, I just don't. But here's what the experience I have had. That's what you start with.
Yeah, I like that.
So I'm not sure because like we talked about, you've had experiences in the daytime, or people have had experience in the daytime. Many people assume it's just at nighttime, or it's definitely at a graveyard. It's not. It's the least time is in a graveyard. They're not going to spend time there, necessarily. It could be in a new building built on an old location.
Yeah.
But it does happen. Let's put it that way. It does happen, but I don't think it's just exclusive to an old home, because you can have a brand new home and still have activity.
Did Antonio have any experiences in the UK? Did he pick up on anything while he was here?
If he did, he didn't share it with me. So that was probably good. We had a good time. But yeah, I don't know. He never said he did, but yeah. He did. What he liked the best was the size of the crows. You call them crows?
Yeah.
At the over by the Tower of London. Those huge birds. Yeah, he really liked that a lot.
The crows and the rooks.
Ravens?
Ravens,
Are they ravens?
rooks. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a big one on my mantelpiece.
A stuffed one?
Just
a real one?
a fake velour one for Halloween, but I love it. It's on my.
Yeah.
I nearly moved it here, so that was quite interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah. So he really loved it. He took lots of photos with his camera, and I thought, well, I just found them the other day, and I think, well, what am I going to do with these? There's no story attached. He just liked it, so
prints them out.
Anyway, it was just yeah.